All right, welcome to The Explainer. Think of me as your squadron leader today because we've got a really important mission, acing your narrative reading assessment. We're going to break down all the skills you'll need, and we'll use a pretty intense story as our training ground.
And that's a great question, right? Because it's not just about, reading the words on the page. It's really about having the right skills to decode it all, to figure out what the author was doing, and to read between the lines. And that's exactly what we're going to go over today. So you've got the tools to tackle any story they throw at you.
Okay, so here's our flight plan. We'll start with the basics, finding direct evidence. Then we'll get into analyzing the author's craft, move on to the trickier stuff like reading between the lines, and finally, we'll nail down a strategy for that written response. All right, let's jump right in. Skill number 1 is the bedrock of pretty much all reading comprehension. We're talking about finding proof right there in the text. It's all about asking yourself, okay, how do I actually know this? And then being able to point to the exact words that back you up.
So check this out. What I love about this is how it really makes you think about each piece of info. I mean, ace of aces? That's a slam dunk. Direct evidence of his skill. And led us one hell of a dance? Yep, that also points to him being an amazing pilot. But what about those other two details? They're about the German attack and the chaos, right? They don't actually tell us anything about Paddle himself. This is so key. You got to make sure your evidence is actually talking about what you claim it is.
Okay, on to our next skill. And this is where things get a little more interesting because we're shifting gears. It's not about what the author says anymore, but how they say it. We're going to be looking at the specific choices an author makes, the words, the sentence structure, all to create a certain effect on you, the reader.
So when the author, Roald Dahl, gets into all these details about the cramped cockpit, the straps, the plexiglass hood, he's not just listing parts of a plane. No way. What he's really doing is putting you right in that pilot's seat. He wants you to feel how intense it was, how trapped he felt, how completely vulnerable.
And this next bit, it just cranks up that intensity even more. The fact that you have to aim the entire plane, not just a little gun sight, that's not just some cool airplane fact. Its whole purpose is to show you the insane amount of skill and focus it took to fly and fight at the same time. It really makes you appreciate how incredible it was that he survived it all.
Okay, let's zoom in on a specific word choice here. When he's talking about his damaged plane, he could have just said, the controls were broken. But he doesn't. He says this. So, what on earth does he mean by that?
Well, he's using something called figurative language. And this is a huge tool in an author's toolbox. It's when they use words in a way that's different from their literal dictionary meaning, all to create a stronger feeling or a clearer picture in your head. I mean, obviously the controls weren't actually wet.
And this just shows the difference perfectly. The literal meaning makes zero sense. But the figurative meaning, man, that tells you everything. You can feel the sluggishness, the struggle, the sense that the plane is just dying. It's all about a feeling, not just a fact, and it puts you right there in the cockpit with him, fighting to get that plane home.
And check out this contrast. It's amazing. Dahl uses these two totally opposite images to show us what's going on inside his head. During the battle, it's a fiery furnace, pure terror. But after, he notices wildflowers. That simple detail tells you everything about his relief, about this new appreciation for just being alive. That's what great writing is all about, showing you, not just telling you.
All right, time for some advanced moves. We're talking about making inferences. Think of yourself as a detective here. Your job is to understand what the author is implying without ever saying it outright. You're connecting the dots, picking up on the clues left behind in the text.
So let's break this sentence down. Dahl says Paddle is brilliant, sure, but that little phrase, evidently assuming, that's our big clue. It's a subtle dig. It suggests that maybe Paddle is so good, he kind of forgets that not everyone else is a flying ace. It's not a knock on his skill, but maybe a quiet question about his leadership right then and there.
Here's another perfect example of this. Notice he doesn't say, I saw two German planes crash into each other. Nope. He says he's quite sure they must have. He's taking a clue, the sheer number of enemy planes swarming the sky, and making a logical leap. He's inferring that their biggest advantage, all those planes, probably turned into a huge disadvantage.
Okay, so we know Dahl is a brave pilot, right? I mean, the text gives us a bunch of reasons. He gets a busted plane home, he survives this crazy dogfight. But let's get specific. What's the single best piece of evidence in the whole story that proves his bravery?
Think about it. Getting home safely and avoiding collisions, those are amazing feats. But they're really about survival, about self-preservation.
But staying in the fight, and not just staying in it, but fighting until he had absolutely no ammo left, that is a conscious choice. That's the clearest sign of his commitment to the mission, going way beyond just trying to save his own skin.
Okay, get ready, because question 10 is a two-parter. You see these a lot. They ask you to do one thing first, like find a detail, and then do a second thing, like make an inference from it. It's like a 1-2 punch designed to test a couple of skills at once.
So part 1 is the observation. It's what he sees. The other pilots are just as sweaty and shaky as he is. Simple enough. Part 2 is the inference, the so what. Well, that shared physical reaction proves that his nightmare experience wasn't just his alone. It was the brutal shared reality for every single pilot in that room.
All right, this is it, the final sortie. Time to put all these skills together for the big one, the written response. This is where you get to show what you know by building a really solid evidence-based argument.
First things first, let's tear this prompt apart. The most important words are how and emotional intensity. See, it's not asking you if it was intense. Duh, of course it was. It's asking how the author pulls it off. You've got to pinpoint his techniques and then prove it with actual quotes.
Whatever you do, don't just start writing. You need an attack plan. Step 1, break down the prompt like we just did. Step 2, go on a hunt for your evidence. Find those killer quotes. Step 3, write a single clear sentence that states your main point. And finally, step 4, weave in your evidence and, this is crucial, explain exactly how it proves what you're saying.
And the good news is, you've got some amazing evidence to work with here. You could talk about that awesome figurative language, the fiery furnace to really show the terror, or you could go with the hard physical evidence of his emotions. You know, the shaking hands, the sweat-soaked clothes. Honestly, any of these are gold for backing up your claim.
And that is your debrief. You know how to find the evidence, you know how to analyze the author's choices, and you know how to read between the lines. You are prepped, practiced, and officially cleared for takeoff. Go ace that mission. Good luck.